I rise today to talk about America's economy and where Americans are at right now. We've seen a lot of trouble over the last 2 years, and it needn't be that way. We could turn this American economy around next quarter. We could truly bring hope and change to the American people if we would put into place a positive solution that would give people certainty about where they're going to go in this economy, and we can. We know it's possible. It's really fairly simple. All we need to do is this. We need to get people investing in the economy, and you do that by making incentives for that. I'm a former federal tax lawyer. I lived this life. I know how it works. Right now, we have a high rate on our capital gains tax. Unfortunately, the Obama administration is looking at increasing that tax. We need to go just in the opposite direction. We need to cut the investment tax, called capital gains, down to zero. The best thing we could do is make that tax permanent to the investor community. Let Americans know if you take your money and if you put it at risk opening a business, hiring people for jobs, in the next 4 years, your risk will be paid off because you'll have a 0% interest rate. That's capital gains. If we would permanently lower the capital gains to zero for 4 years, we would have incredible domestic investment as well as foreign investment. Even better, we can take the business tax rate, which United States today has the second highest business tax rate in the world, 34%. America is not an attractive place to invest money. We can change that. We can go from 34% on our business tax and bring that down to 9%. Make it permanent. What are foreign investors looking for? A safe haven for investment. They want to invest in the United States, but we have a very punitive investment climate. If we would bring down that business tax rate to 9%, we would be able to bring foreign money into the United States and invest and create jobs. And rather than seeing jobs fleeing the United States to other countries, we'd see them come right back into the United States. That's what we need now. More jobs, more stability, more certainty. We've had enough with economic uncertainty from 2008 to the present. Let's change that equation. We can have a positive alternative. First, zero capital gains. Second, lower the business tax rate to being one of the lowest in the world. Third, cut every American's tax rate down by at least 5%. We can do that, and that will help Americans keep more of their money. Fourth, we need to kill the death tax once and for all. If even one American pays the death tax, it's immoral. Why in the world should Uncle Sam be able to reach in the coffin after death and still try to pull the wallet out of an American who's deceased? This is immoral. It shouldn't be. And then finally, the alternative minimum tax. We should zero out the alternative minimum tax, which is putting a second tax burden on already overtaxed middle-class Americans. Also, Sarbanes-Oxley. Sarbanes-Oxley is actually chased capital out of New York City over to London. We need to get that investment capital back in the United States. That's a pretty simple plan. If we would stay here for the rest of the day, and if we would stay here tomorrow as members of Congress, we could very quickly and simply pass this common sense legislation that's worked time and time again. Don't just take my word for it, a woman from Minnesota. Take a look at Harvard. Harvard did a study back in 2002 that examined 18 different world economies, and they showed the same thing. They said, what do you do to make economies work? And what do you do that makes economies not work? Here's what you do. You lower the wages of government employees, you lower transfer payments, welfare payments, and you lower the tax rates. That's what you do, the study concluded, to make economies revive. What you don't do is increase government spending. What you don't do is increase taxes. What we've seen in the last 65 days is what you do to make an economy not work or bring more uncertainty into our economy. The American people deserve a positive solution, and we've got one. Let's get to work. Let's stay here. Let's make it happen. Instead, what are we seeing happen? We're seeing more spending and higher taxes. And what did the Federal Reserve try to do this week? They announced that they're going to do another $1 trillion in purchases. And they just announced today another $300 billion in buying up long-term Treasury securities. They've already lowered the interest rates to zero, so now they want to flood more money into the money supply. But this reduces the value of the dollar. Mr. Speaker, there's so much we can do to change the economy. Let's get busy. Thanks again, and I yield back my time.